longest running co-host. The torch has been passed from Stephen A. Smith to CC Sabathia.
Well, that's because you ran me out of the business, man. You took over. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting alongside Ryan Rucco. I mean, Stephen A. didn't matter. I had to get the hell away from you so I could stay relevant.
I think you're doing okay since the breakup. It seems like things are going all right.
It's going all right. It's going all right.
Baby Stephen A. got his own show now too. It's going great.
Baby Stephen A. taking over, man.
Baby Stephen A. is like the new Little Penny. If you're old enough to remember that.
Yeah, man.
It's hilarious, man. People are loving it right now. So I'm just flowing with it, man. It's my alter ego, as they say. I'm having a good time with it, man. But that's the beauty of it, of doing the show right now, because, doing a talk show, I just wanted to have a platform available to myself where, you're still going to touch on sports and everything like that. But I wanted to bring people from outside of the sports world who could talk about sports. That was one thing. And the other thing is I wanted to celebrate them, because I think that when you're doing a debate show every day, you're just going at it on particular topics. And I just don't know if people realize that sometimes, and I try to explain this to people in my inner circle, my family, loved ones, et cetera, et cetera. Every day I wake up, I know somebody is I'm going to make somebody mad that day. I mean, just think about that for a second. Every single day, you know that somebody, no matter what you do, somebody's going to be unhappy with you, because it's a debate show and you have to take a side. And so when you have to take a side and you're unapologetic about taking that side, if it ain't the side somebody wants you to take, and it's always going to be somebody because you're picking sides, that's what you have to live with every day, somebody being upset at some take that you disseminated. And so to wake up every day like that and having to deal with that, you just get to a point where there's so many great things, so many great stories, and so many great people in the world of sports. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for sports. Neither would you guys. And there's so much appreciation that I have for athletes, coaches, executives, et cetera, because of what they've meant to the world of sports. I just want to celebrate a lot of people, and I want to show that side of me, that willingness to really celebrate folks and have a good time.
That's amazing to hear, because you are the king of the debate shows. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. Like somebody's always going to have an opinion. Somebody's always going to be pissed off. And I'm sure you walking down the street in New York City, somebody's yelling at you about what you said about Kyrie, or you know what I'm saying? Like that has to get annoying and tired. So yeah, I mean, to be able to celebrate these stories, and like you said, we all wouldn't be sitting here without the greatness of sports. So to celebrate that is awesome. That's a dope thing.
It's just important for me that the people, particularly the people inside and outside the sports world, but in the entertainment world, know that side of me, because that's always been there. People who know me know I know how to smile, I know how to laugh, I know how to tell jokes, have a good time, all of that other stuff. It ain't about rah-rah, it ain't about debating all the time, but when those lights come on, whatever my role is, I'm going to play that role. If it's a debate show, I'm going to debate. If I'm hosting sports, and I'm going to host. If I'm hosting my own show, I'm going to host. When I was doing radio, that's what I did. Ryan knows that. See, you've known me for years. You've seen me at 4040 hanging with Jay-Z and the crew, and I'm debating them. And they really coming at I'm walking. I came in to get some wings and they grabbed a drink, and they start debating me about what I had to say. So, everywhere you go, and it's like, it's cool. I understand it, because you can't shy away from responsibilities that come along with the job at hand. But in the same breath, that's not all there is to you. And I remember I was in LA on many occasions. I've seen some of the stars. It could be Denzel, it could be Don Cheadle, it could be, so many other people. And you just sit there and you just look at them, Will Smith, everybody else. I said, listen, people want y'all autographs and pictures. Me, they want to debate.
They want to debate.
I know you didn't say that. I can't believe that. And, it just gets to a point where it's like, wait a minute. I've been a journalist for over 25 years. I wrote at the New York Daily News. I wrote at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I was a beat writer. I started off as a beat writer, and I ended my newspaper career as one of only 21 African Americans who became a general sports columnist in this nation's history. There's a lot that comes along with me being here today. But because I've been so successful with a debate show, people have forgotten my resume. And so I like utilizing other things to remind folks of the multitude of things I try to bring to the table. And more importantly, how I'm far more positive than negative. And that's what I'm trying to do.
It's so funny you say that, Stephen, because people used to always ask me, because you are such a massive star and your star has only grown, what was it like hosting with Stephen A? What kind of guy? Oh, is he always like up loud? And I'm like, No, Stephen A is like the kindest, chillest dude to work with. Like he couldn't be a more considerate teammate, and he's just a good guy. I always talk about how you were one of the people who really helped my play-by-play career at ESPN because you were the one who told the executives, "Hey, my co-host, you got to listen to him do play-by-play." Yeah, and I'm glad you have a platform now to show even more of that side of you and another side of you. The Love Doctor, because we used to do the Love Doctor on Stephen A. and Rucco on the radio, and now you got it on ESPN Plus on your show Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. How often is the Love Doctor going to be broken out on your show?
At least once a week, potentially twice a week. Listen, man, see, man, Ryan knows this. I'm a huge fan of Martin Lawrence and the show Martin. And so what happened is my all-time favorite episode was the Love Doctor. That's where it's not me. It's all Martin Lawrence. He sat up there and here was the funny part. And I've told people this. This is the irony of it all. So in the 90s, this show was a hit show and whatever. And Tisha Campbell, Tashina Arnold, and the rest of the crew, Cole, Tommy, Martin, all of this other stuff. And this episode for the Love Doctor, Martin had left the radio business. Mm-hmm. And now he was trying to get into television. But the only position they had for him was an associate producer. And so this one episode, the host of the television show didn't show up. And so the boss said to him, "You host the show today." So, I mean, think about what I'm doing in today's day and age. And that was what the episode was. He was hosting a television show. And it was some couple that came on there. They took off their shoes, get ready to swing on each other. And Martin like, "Calm down. Hold on. Calm down. You got to be friends first." And everybody was like, started clapping. He was like, What? That work? You got to be friends first. And all of a sudden, everybody came to him and they say, "Yo, Love Doctor, we got some advice." And he'd give them some advice and he'd go like this: "Now get on out of here. I'm the Love Doctor." And it was hilarious. The episode ended with his best boy, Tommy, dating his worst enemy, Pam. And he didn't know. He was sitting up there. He said, Tommy said, "I just want you to know, I found this special someone. It's because of you that I found this special someone." He's like, "Oh, man, I'm happy for you. If I'm getting emotional, it's because I'm happy for you. When do I meet him? I want to meet him, man." And it was Pam. He was sick to his stomach. Hilarious. And that's where the entire Love Doctor segment came from. So I'm doing it on the show, and I'm doing it on the show by myself. I did it on the show with Ryan, and people took it seriously. They were calling me for advice.
They really were.
I'm sitting there like this. I ain't married. What the hell do I know? You know. And one of my other favorites was Bernie Mac. You remember when Bernie Mac was saying, "I ain't talking about myself. And so I was like this. Yeah, I'm not talking about myself now. I'm talking about you.
I'm talking about you.
I got you. And I give these advice. And all of a sudden, ESPN came and they're like, "Advertisers want to sponsor this segment." And I was like, really? And then my social media folks would say, "Yo, man, we got thousands of requests where people were having questions for the Love Doctor." I'm like, really? You know, and then they like, I said, "Well, okay." I said, "Listen, I'm listening to hip hop radio stations trying to give advice. I'm like, why can't I?
Right? The Breakfast Club, they got Angela Yee on there giving advice. She ain't married or nothing. It's the same shit.
I remember the first.
Don't let Charlamagne give the advice. Charlamagne might look at you and be like, man. "What? He shouldn't want you." You never know.
I mean, like the first time we did it, I think we were doing it like for a segment or two on the radio, and the calls were coming in like after the show was off the air. So then we did for Valentine's Day like the full 2 hours. And the whole time, everybody was just saying, they just wanted advice.
The whole show. The bosses had to come to us and say, "Y'all do know this is a sports show." And I'm like, "It's Valentine's Day." I did one show where I told the brother, I said, "Listen, follow my lead. Play this music. Don't speak. Just look at her while this music's playing. Do this, do that." He called me back the next week. He said, "Stephen A., you the man. You saved my relationship." And I was like this. I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it.
Shit, that's hilarious.
It's so good. I'm so glad that it's going to be on Stephen A's World on ESPN Plus because people need to see this. They just they need to see it regularly.
I'm gonna come up with stuff now. I'm gonna come up with this. My world. So and that's what so you got to talk sports and everything. But what I try to tell people like it's Stephen A's World. So I had Snoop Dogg on the first episode. I had Jamie Foxx on the second episode. And then I had the two biggest soap opera stars in America on the show. The guy that plays Sonny Corinthos for General Hospital, Maurice Bernard.
Of course.
And the guy that plays Victor Newman on Young and the Restless, which is Eric Braeden.
I know both of those dudes because my grandmother watched both of those shows.
That's right. And I know both of them. I know both of them personally. And believe it or not, they had never, because I got a recurring role on General Hospital, and they had met only once, just in passing. They had never broke bread together until I brought them together for dinner a few years ago. And then I brought them on the show last week. So it's like, okay, what do they have to do with sports? Maurice loves his boxing. Eric Braeden loves his soccer and his UFC and boxing. And I said, you know something? But in talking about them, this is a part of my world because you never know who I'm around. And so I wanted to share that with the audience and let them know. Don't look at me and pigeonhole me. Yeah, I'm from the hip hop generation. Don't think I just know LL or Run DMC and all of these boys. No, I watch soap operas too. You just never know.
Can we talk about Snoop and how diverse he is? Like, I mean, can we get him like host, like commentating games or something? Because that Nate Robinson commentating was hilarious. He made the fight.
You know what the thing about it is? I got some intel to give you. See, I told Snoop. I said, first of all, Sugar Ray Leonard, former welterweight champion of the world and boxing Hall of Famer. We all know Sugar Ray. He was calling a fight with Israel Adesanya, who's a middleweight champion in the UFC, who did a good job. Snoop stole the show from both of them. You know, he was absolutely sensational. And I said to Snoop, but if people listening to you closely, you weren't joking about the Nate Robinson because a lot of people were laughing at Nate.
He was serious.
I felt bad. I felt bad for Nate. I really, really did. Because, you know, you win or lose, that could happen. But to get put to sleep, like literally put to sleep, that was bad.
Yeah.
And so what happened is that, you know, I didn't find it funny. I was sad for him because I know that, you know, we ain't seen Nate since. That's some hard stuff to live down. Let's just call it what it is. And I asked Snoop about it. And Snoop said, yo, Stephen A., I wasn't laughing because here's what y'all missed. He said, because of the camera angles and COVID and all of that stuff, they didn't show everything. He said, Stephen A., he didn't walk out of that ring. They had to carry him out. They had to carry him out. He was in no condition to even get up and walk out of the ring. He had to be carried out. They wheeled him out.
Oh, man.
So he said, people don't realize it. He said, that's why it wasn't funny to me because I saw him and I was like, yo, man, he's really, really hurt. And I said, damn, it was even worse than what we saw.
He said,
yes, it was worse than what you saw. And that's why he wasn't laughing. He said, so I was entertaining folks. He said, but then it got really serious with me once I saw he couldn't get out of the ring on his own.
Man, that's crazy.
That is crazy. Steven, that's one thing. I started doing boxing play-by-play for DAZN over the last couple of years, and that's one thing I've realized, man. When you're there and you see, like, I mean, you obviously have the closest seat you could have to seeing how hurt some of these dudes are. It shakes you. Like, I mean, it really does. Like, it's hard not to
your own humanity. You wasn't even the one that got hit.
Right.
Like they damn.
Right.
You know, just looking at it, right? But then I tell you where it shifts for me, where I get into debate mode, first take mode, for lack of a better phrase. I have no patience, zero, for somebody who participates in a pugilistic sport and they're out of condition. I have no patience for that. It's like, wait a minute. So somebody has a license to assault you and you don't take that seriously. I lose all respect. I lose all respect for you because I'm like, it's like, you know what? Listen, see, you go out there, you want to pitch, you want to be in the best shape, you can pitch to the best of your ability. All right. You know, you lose. You don't want to let your teammates down, stuff like that. But damn it, you gave up a home run. Or somebody, you know, whether he dropped 40 on you or somebody, he scored a touchdown. No, man, this person is coming there to knock your head off.
Yeah.
Literally, you signed on to get your head beaten potentially. And you don't take that seriously. To me, somebody like that can never be trusted. can never be trusted.
But that's why I got so much respect for Nate though, because like, I would never walk into a ring, bro, ever.
Yeah.
I'm not even bullshitting. Like I would never do that shit, like ever. Like to fight somebody, like that's a like you can't play. Like we play sports, baseball, basketball. You can't play with that shit, bro. Yeah. Somebody in there to fuck you up. You can't play with that. Like that's a real thing. So you're right. Like to watch somebody be out of shape doing that makes no sense.
And I certainly wasn't talking about Nate because Nate wasn't out of shape.
No. I'm just saying, just in general. Yeah.
Where Nate hurt himself is that with this kid, Paul, this dude is taking boxing seriously.
Yeah.
He had been training for the previous year. He wasn't joking, you know, and it's like, you know, like, I really, really want to do this. Yeah, I'm on YouTube and stuff like that, but I actually really, really want to do this. And I'm trying to train to become a professional. And you walk off the basketball court and you are talking mad smack. Dude don't even know who you are. You call him out on social media, you know, during the promotion for the fight. You was just talking mad smack and disrespecting him like that. And it's like, listen, I love Nate and I love his competitive fervor and I love what he did for the Knicks throughout those years. I've always been a fan of him. I wish him. I didn't laugh one time at him. I found nothing funny about him suffering that kind of knockout. I still feel sorry. It was so bad I wouldn't even bring it up to him. I would just say to him, "You all right? Everything cool?"
Mm-hmm.
That's all I care about. But what I'm saying is the lesson to be learned about that is you walked in an arena that wasn't yours, and in a very, very serious sport. And clearly, by what you saw him doing, it wasn't like he was being trained or anything like that. And so when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, look, man, you know, you just never know who's out here. You know, for me, I'm scared of everybody. I'm scared of somebody 7 feet tall, 300 pounds, or 10 pounds. As far as I'm concerned, anybody could take you out. They catch you right.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's how you have to treat boxing and UFC. And I think that's a lesson we all should learn from that.
Steven, you know, you were talking before about how every day when you're done with first take, you know, you've pissed somebody off. You just, you know it. I'm wondering, when did you get comfortable with that? Because one thing I always observe with you is I think, you know, you only say things you believe on the air, you know, even though you obviously you lean into your role and your incredible gift of language, you and the passion you bring, but you really only say things you actually believe when you're on the air. But like, you know, there still has to be some level of comfort with that, right? Like to be willing to share that. When did you get to that place where you're like, I don't care what somebody comes back at me with. This is what I believe.
The comfort came long before I was on television. I was a journalist. I grew up watching Ted Koppel. I grew up watching Sam Donaldson. I grew up watching Peter Jennings. You know, the list just goes on and on and on. So as a result of that, you know, you can't be in the field of journalism looking to make friends. What I prided myself on doing was never being personal, doing everything that I could not to get into people's personal life. I'm very, very big on that. Like, I get mad if I got to go to a dude and ask him about something that happened in his house or something like that, because you in the police blotters. I'm actually pissed off at the person because I don't want to go there. I don't want to ask you that question. You got into some dispute with your girlfriend or your wife. I don't want to be talking about that. That's none of my business. I don't want to be involved in that. But when you end up in the police blotters, that's a matter of public record. And then you have folks from all stratospheres that are challenging you to bring to light certain things. So let's say, hypothetically, you're an athlete and you get yourself caught in a situation where it's involved in domestic violence. Well, we all know what kind of life of its own that takes on because of the world that we're living in, because of how much we've learned about how women have been so victimized throughout the years, even though I've seen situations where, you know what, men, there's not most, 85, 90% of the time, women are being victimized, but I've seen women kick the living hell out of a dude, beat the living shit out of them. Okay, I've seen all of that. All right. So, but I've seen it all. What I'm saying is, I don't want to talk about your personal life at all. And knowing that I have that kind of mentality and all I want to do is stick to your profession. And I also want to be able to ask you about that. I'm not the kind of person where, and see, you know this about me. Everybody knows this about me. You too, Ryan. I'm not one of these cats that host a show and you never see me at games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hard to find.
Mm-hmm.
I literally go, I want you to have my number. I want you to be able to call me. I want you to pick up the phone if I said something that you disagree with and I'm factually incorrect. I want you to come at me, because the same person that says something about you publicly, if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself publicly. I won't say something about you publicly and then go hiding. And I won't say something about you publicly and then come on the air and don't acknowledge that I was wrong if I was wrong. If I was wrong publicly, I will admit I was wrong publicly, because I want you to know you're dealing with a man and a fair-minded guy that really don't want to hurt you. I'm just doing my job of calling it like I see it. But I only want to talk about your profession. I don't want to get into your life unless you want to get into it. I don't want to tell your story. I want you to tell your story. That's one of the reasons I'm big on interviews. And a lot of times you got athletes, particularly NBA players, because they're not folks, in news, folks are clamoring for the camera time. In the world of sports, as y'all well know, y'all don't need the camera time. Y'all got enough camera time. So y'all ain't starving to do interviews and stuff like that. So for me, when I go to guys, I always try to tell them, when we get into tussles, verbal tussles, I say to them all the time, I have no obligation to talk to you. I get paid to talk about you. So when I come to you to talk to you, I'm actually showing you a courtesy, because that's taking up my time and my space from saying what I want to say and go home. But the human in me doesn't feel good about that. I don't want to talk about a player without talking to him if I could help it. Now, if you avoid me, that's on you. But if you talk to me, I feel an inherent obligation to make sure, even if I completely disagree, that your perspective is heard, that you can't sit up there and say you were misconstrued, you was misquoted, nothing. I want to give you the platform to be who you are, because I feel I owe that to you, just as a human being and as a professional. And that's the way I try to do it. And that's why it's always been easy for me to deal with being able to say what I want to say and how I feel, because I know I come from that authentic place.
And that's one of the biggest things that you are, and you are authentic, but you around. That's the one of the things that bugs me. Like, if I hear somebody say some shit or listen to something or hear like a soundbite, I'm like, this motherfucker ain't even in here. He don't even come to the games. He don't know nobody in here. Like, and then people believe that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what bugs me more so than about journalists that like are on TV that are famous. They'll say some shit and then you'll never see them again until they on TV. So you can't even get the facts to them or address anything that they saying without like calling them out on Twitter or something, because you don't never see them. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I agree with you for the most part. But here's the one place where I will hold athletes accountable. Because of the world that we're living in and how big sports has become, it's forced y'all into a bubble as athletes. So everyone doesn't have access to you. Like, for example, you see sports television shows all over the place on every channel. Everybody ain't going to holler at CC. Everybody don't have that kind of access to you. You see what I'm saying? So my point is that where I get on an athlete is when there's no one in the media that you're communicating with. I never forget years ago when everybody was coming at MJ, and Ahmad Rashad was his boy, obviously. And Ahmad Rashad used to get crucified, which I totally felt was unfair. Just because that's your boy don't mean you should be crucified. He was working for the NBA. He was working for NBC. Show Ahmad Rashad some respect, who, by the way, was a pretty damn good professional athlete. He was a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, for crying out loud. Mm-hmm. And so I remember that Ahmad Rashad sat down with MJ and asked MJ all the questions. And when he asked MJ all the questions, because I know Ahmad Rashad, and he told me this story, he literally stopped the interview. And before MJ got up, he looked around. He said, do y'all have anything else y'all want me to ask him? Is there anything that's missing? He's right here. You see what I'm saying? Well, like, what more can you do? So now so MJ's supposed to be talking to everybody? No, MJ had a person he trusted, but he didn't avoid the questions. And so there was no excuse. I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is when an athlete says the media castigates everybody, generalizes, paints everybody with a broad brush, and you don't have anybody to talk to. That's bullshit. There's always somebody. And so for me, what I try to do is let cats know, agree or disagree with you. I don't owe it to you to agree with you. What I do owe to you is to make sure that if you want to talk, exactly what you want to say is heard and expressed to the masses. And what I try to do is unedited, live. Here it is. This is you. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I love about having my own shows, because it puts me in a position where it's tens of millions of people I'm reaching every single week. Between YouTube, all of the ESPN platforms or whatever, I'm reaching anywhere from 50 to 75 million people a week. And as long as I make sure I do that, and I make sure that your voice is heard in its completion, that is my obligation to you. I don't owe you anything other than that, and I'm cool with that.
That's actually great advice too for young guys or players that are in big markets that have a bunch of media. Like Ryan, George King was my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like if I had anything going on and I wanted to say something or I wanted to get my point across, I would go straight to him. And I knew that he was going to say it. He was going to write it just like I said it to him. You know what I'm saying? Like he understood me, and that was just from day one. So that's actually good advice, especially guys that are in huge media markets. Like I played in Cleveland, Milwaukee. You don't really need that because it's maybe one or two beat writers. But when you in LA, New York, Miami, you definitely should have one person that you can go to get your story out there the way you want it.
And see, I swear to you, I'm not bragging, but it's like I'm looking at cats like I reach 50 to 75 million a week.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure your message is heard. I'm willing to hear it. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to literally say, okay, speak. Just the other week, people were getting on me about Kyrie. It's like, what about him? I'm right here. You understand? This is the platform. I don't want you to fail. I don't want you to lose. I'm a Knicks fan, not a Nets fan, but I'll take anything that I can get in New York. As bad as basketball has been here, it's like I'm here. You know how cool I am with a lot of people. See, you see me with certain people who will remain nameless that are stars. It's like, listen, they talk to me all the time off the record. On the record, if they got something to say, they'll let me know they want it on the record. Mm-hmm. If they don't want it, they don't want it. It's very simple. It's about trust and it's about respect. It's not, but on far too many occasions, we got a couple of softies in the world of sports as athletes where you can tell an absolute truth. They can't even deny it and they still pissed at you because it's something about the game, nothing personal, that happens to be true. And they'll still get mad at you. And so you just can't worry about stuff to that degree because there are certain things that are just not realistic to expect.
I want to go Brooklyn's big three with you, Stephen. But before we go there, sure. I'm just wondering: is there like a story you can think of like an athlete coming at you? I mean, I'm sure you have many of them, but like somebody coming at you for something you said, and then you being able to sort of explain your point of view and get them to come around and then appreciate you.
Well, Kobe was one of them. God rest his soul. Kobe was really upset at me one time because I did it when he had the whole issue in Eagle County, Colorado. And then I had interviewed Shaq when they went to the playoffs that day. Mm-hmm. And Shaq just came across as somebody that didn't have any sympathy at all. And Kobe felt like it really, really made him look bad. And he blamed me. And he and I didn't speak damn near for a year. He just walked right by me, wouldn't talk to me or whatever. And Ryan, you know me. Well, listen, I try to talk to you, but you shrug, you snub me like that. You can go to hell. That's how I roll. I'm like, because I'm here to talk. And if you show me where I made a mistake, I'll correct it. But he wasn't willing to do that. And so it took him some time to get that. And then one day I was driving to the nation's capital because Washington was playing Minnesota. And Kobe called me on the drive home. And, apologized, he just felt, and I said, I still don't understand. What was your problem? What did I do? And he said, the interview with Shaq really bothered me, man. And I was like, but I didn't do anything. I didn't even ask. He brought you up. I didn't know he was going to do that. I didn't do anything. That was one. And we were fine and we were pretty tight ever since. The other one was me and AI. Because AI is like a little brother to me, Allen Iverson. But I was the beat writer, and he and I went 8 months without talking to each other because he pissed me off one day, and I got tired of him ruining my vacations. Every damn time I was on vacation, he got himself into some damn trouble, and I had to come off vacation to cover this dude and the whole bit. So one day I just said, "Yeah, I wrote a column. He got to stop. acting up. You got to be on time. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. And he was so damn furious with me. We didn't speak for 8 months. And he often talks about one of his boys. His name was Rashawn. He had gotten killed. He had gotten gunned down, if I remember correctly, years later. But his friend, who was a lifelong friend of his, I was cool with all his boys, but he and I went and talked, and they said, enough of this. They said, y'all need to squash this now. And he made me come, and I went to a club, Palmer's in Philly on Spring Garden. I forgot which street it was on, at like 2 in the morning. And he was waiting there with AI, and AI came up to me, fuck you want, man. Just like and started laughing. I'm like, oh, you not mad no more?
I can hear his voice saying that.
Exactly. So you not mad no more? And he's like, nah, man, we good. I said, then why the hell y'all made me come here at 2 o'clock in the morning then? And they were like, your ass need to be up. You need to be up. And it was just like that. And it was all because behind the scenes, his boys had a conversation with him about how I had a job to do. And most of the time I'm supporting the brothers, but every now and then I got to call it like it is. I got to call it like I see it. You can't get a pass on every damn thing, So it was incidences like that. And we all know the, stuff with me and Big Dog Glenn Robinson was well documented, but that's water under the bridge and stuff like that. But that's about it.
Steven, how about Brooklyn's big three, man? I know we got our first look last night at them and in the double OT loss to Cleveland.
They ain't play no defense.
They don't play no defense, guys. I said that last night.
How you going to give up 147 points even though it was double overtime, how you going to give up 147 points to the second worst offense in the National Basketball Association? I mean, that's pretty pathetic, but I got news for you. I'm not really worried about it. Right now, I believe the Brooklyn Nets are going to the finals. Right now, I believe Kevin Durant is not only the league MVP I think he's going to be the comeback player of the year too. But to be gone 18 months and to come back in your first 12 games, you averaging 30 on 54% shooting, damn near 50% from 3-point range. I mean, this brother's just on another level, okay? Joel Embiid is playing well too, but Kevin Durant is my league MVP right now. Here's the thing that alarmed me. Number one, Kyrie Irving disappearing for those 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, your first game back. Yeah, I know you dropped 37. You needed to since Sexton dropped 42 on you. But how in God's name are you going to take 28 shots and James Harden only takes 14? Now, there's something wrong with that picture. There's nothing inside your soul that said, this brother right here, who had another triple-double, by the way, and James Harden, this brother right here did average 30 the last 3 years, did average a minimum of 29 the last 4, did average a minimum of 28 the last 5, has never averaged less than 25 a game and since he arrived in Houston. I might be shooting just a little bit too much. I mean, there's nothing inside of you. There's nothing inside of you that says that. That's the kind of stuff. See, that's me right there, where people like him and others will get pissed, but I'm sitting there like, we talking basketball, man. I know you can score. I know you could drop the 40. I know there's nothing inside of you that says, I'm shooting twice as much as James Harden.
I think it was just the first game. I think it's because he missed those 7 and then he was coming back. But he was and I could tell every time down that he was going to shoot, because when they take the ball out, they was passing the ball to Kyrie, and then Kyrie was throwing it to Harden. So Harden can bring it up to give him the ball so he can get that shot off. So I just think it was because he was trying to get back into the groove of.
I feel you on that, but here's my retort. Here's my retort. If you felt that way because it was your first game back, how you gonna feel if you in the playoffs or the final? The itch don't leave. It increases. It increases.
I think he needs the ball, though. I think he needs to have the ball. And I think Harden plays off the ball. And obviously KD can take 15 shots and drop,
I disagree with you.
whatever.
I completely disagree with you.
You think Harden needs the ball?
I think Harden has to be the point guard.
Man,
you know why?
Kyrie gonna shoot 30 times every night then.
Because he's a natural passer. He's a natural passer. James Harden is not given enough credit. He actually was a better point guard than Russell Westbrook was in OKC.
Yeah.
People forget that. And James Harden is unselfish. He can run a show. He's a magician at getting fouled, as you well know, Ryan, because of all the games you cover. This brother just knows what to do. See, Kyrie will dance on you and embarrass you. He will do stuff that's just highlight reel, made for the box office and stuff. But James Harden is incredibly efficient in terms of getting to the free throw line, drawing fouls, getting opposition in foul trouble, stuff like that. And no one should shoot more than KD.
Yeah.
He's too efficient. He's too efficient for you. And I will say this. If you want to shoot more than him, fine. Do it the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter.
You
know who the hell it could have. You know who should have the ball. It's like, don't. It's like, stop it. It's like, come on, y'all. You gotta know.
What about since they traded Karras and the bench only gave him 10 points last night? What about if they put Kyrie with that second unit? I'm not saying not start him, but then put him in with the second unit so he can just go crazy and let him get all his shots right there.
I don't mind that, but what I would tell you,
I like that too, actually.
I like that too. What I would tell you, however, is this. They all know they're going to get a select few shots. They know that. And that's the way it's supposed to be, okay?
DeAndre Jordan, I don't even think he touched the ball last night.
That's right. He lucky. He got a couple
a few alley-oops.
But I'm just saying that, but that should be it. That should be it. Let them just make sure. It's like know the pecking order, man. Know the pecking order. You can't, I listen, Kyrie's whole thing is, I'm not going to be second fiddle to anybody. And I'm like, okay, that you are a superstar. No question about it. But you ain't KD.
Nah, ain't nobody KD.
No one is KD.
Nobody's KD.
You can't. It doesn't matter. To me, the only person who should ever have an excuse not to defer to KD when it comes to shooting the basketball is Steph Curry. And he deferred.
Yeah.
And he deferred.
Yeah.
So Steph Curry, the greatest shooter known to man, is willing to defer. Okay, the same dude that warms up by shooting shots from the stands. Okay, that dude. If he knows to defer to you, what the hell is anybody else's problem?
Yeah. You know what? The thing that's, I mean, it's so clear. All of us who've watched KD, but then especially now, getting to call his games regularly and watching him night in, night out. Like he's on another level. Look, all those guys. Harden is sensational, and Steven, you're right. His playmaking and passing is incredible. And Kyrie, the things he can do with his handle and the way he finishes, it's unlike any guard we've seen. But everything needs to circle around KD. And I think that means leadership-wise too, right? Like KD is probably going to have to be the one who says, hey, if it comes to a time where it's like the shot distribution isn't right, it may have to be KD who says, hey, Kai, we need a few less from you and a few more from James.
That's where I worry about KD. That's where, listen, to me, the only reason why I would challenge, I think he's the best in the world.
Me too. There's no question.
The only reason I would challenge, that I would hear what anybody has to say about LeBron is because LeBron's leadership can't be questioned at this point in his career. And I think that with Kevin Durant, he has a problem putting his foot down. He might tell you something, but he has a problem putting his foot down. And you got to remember, things went awry with him in Golden State when he wanted the ball from Draymond and Draymond didn't give it up. Now, Draymond's no Kyrie on the offensive end of the floor. We all know that.
Yeah.
But the point is that if you're Kevin Durant, this is your franchise. James Harden is here because of you. All right. James Harden is here because they know that with Kyrie being a bit eccentric and unpredictable, they couldn't just trust Kyrie to be your sidekick. They had to have a James Harden too. They recognize that. They mortgaged the future similar to what they did years ago when they got KG and Paul Pierce and all of that stuff, even though this is on an upper echelon level. But in the end, they did it for KD. Kyrie Irving would not be in a Brooklyn Nets uniform if it were not for KD. You don't have to answer that, Ryan. It's not a question. You know, the Brooklyn Nets did not want Kyrie Irving. They wanted KD. And because of KD, they embraced Kyrie Irving because that was the condition under which KD was going to end up in Brooklyn. Period. I'm telling you what I know. And so when you know that, this is his franchise. And when you consider how efficient he is and how unselfish it is, there's no excuse for him not to be taking more shots than you because you know good and damn well KD is the most giving superstar you will find. Mm-hmm. He's unselfish. He doesn't mind somebody else having to shine. He doesn't mind somebody else getting his. If you playing with a teammate like that, who is as great and as efficient offensively as he is, show the man the respect and deference he deserves by making sure he is continuously the number one option.
I think KD, he's growing into that leadership role, but you 1,000% right. The way that he is as a teammate, you should just show him that respect. You know what I'm saying? Like you should understand that this guy is the best basketball player in the world, and he will defer to you. He will be a good teammate, and sometimes he can't really show that leadership where he needs to step up. And I think he went to Golden State just to go hoop, cuz. So he didn't have to be that leader and all that stuff that he wanted to do. He went down there to go hoop. And I feel like now that he went to Brooklyn and made the decision, now it's time for him to step up and be that LeBron leader where he can lead his team and run it the way he wants to.
He has to step up. And you know why? Because it is his team. Mm-hmm. And because they did everything for him. You understand? Kyrie cannot be a problem for KD.
Yeah.
You've done this. He's here because of you. You understand? And so, listen, Kyrie's a superstar. Kyrie's box office, man. I mean, you pay to walk through the turnstiles to watch this brother play. And the other day, I made it a point to point out on my show that, listen, what Kyrie said as an explanation for his absence recently, absolutely nothing wrong with it. You know what the only problem was, see? He didn't tell anybody initially. Had you told folks that same exact explanation, they could have sat up there, take some time off, take whatever time you need, get your head right, et cetera, and go forward. But unfortunately, these guys just want to do things their own way. And what they forget is that, well, the fans have a mind of their own too. The fans have a right to sit up there and say, go to hell, we want a chip. We don't want to hear nothing about nothing else. We want a chip. You back now, you ready to do this? So, okay, you disappeared and that's fine. You back now, that's great. But we going to watch you jack up shots and KD not get the ball? No, we don't want to hear that. And we don't want to hear about, you know what? We got work to do and all that stuff. You better get to the damn finals. Shaq is like, nah, they better win it.
They better win it. I feel like they should win it. I feel like they should win it, bro. Especially if they get that second unit right.
There's no shame in losing to Anthony Davis and LeBron now. There's no shame in that.
I feel like if the teams are even, so like I guess the teams weren't even. So when the Warriors played the Cavs in the finals, if the teams are really good and they're even and it's LeBron against KD, KD wins that matchup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if Brooklyn gets right and they can match up the teams evenly with the Lakers, and then it's just KD and LeBron, KD's gonna win that.
But
KD?
let's not forget a couple of things. Number one, the Lakers got some size in them. Number two, Anthony Davis is a monster defensively as well.
Yes.
And so what you have is a situation where you're talking about a guy blocking shots. You're talking about a guy patrolling the interior. He's rebounding. LeBron is helping them in that regard. You got Montrezl Harrell, who's an energizer bunny. You got Morris. He can ball. I think the pickup of Schrader is not bad because he's more of an offensive player than Rondo. You got a lot of things. So, again, if they lost to the Lakers, there would be no shame in that. But it would be very shameful and very problematic for this team if they did not come out of the Eastern Conference. I can tell you that. That would be bad.
Steven, I know you got to run, man. You got Stephen A's World to shoot, but it's so good catching up, man. It's good to be on the airwaves with you again, man.
Yeah, man. Miss y'all.
We miss you too. You too, Steven. And thank you for this time, man. I'm sure we'll be talking more Brooklyn throughout the year.
Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, I'm going to go to a game in New York. I'm going to go to a game in New York. I'm going to a game in New York, even though my Knicks are one game out of 500.
Man, don't nobody want to hear that. I got my Harden jersey on the way. I just ordered the blue one.
I got to call Jay today. Let's see what he got to say about them damn Brooklyn Nets. Listen, I'm rooting for them against anybody but the Knicks.
Yeah, fair enough. I got to be a Knicks fan because Wes over there now too. So that's my, that's the big hump. So
Steve, you better Steve, you better root for us, Steve. Steve, things are changing, Stephen A. I'm like, damn it, Wes. I'm sorry. This is you an executive in the NBA now. Okay? You don't get to just talk your way out of this. They got to play and show that. Okay. See, I told him I like Obi Toppin. I like him, but not as much as I like Tyrese Halliburton. That's who I wanted the Knicks to draft. Remember I said that, Ryan. Remember I said that.
Yeah, well, I love Halliburton, man.
I wanted the Knicks to draft Halliburton, and they drafted Toppin. What the hell I need another forward who can dunk for when everybody on your team is a forward? You needed a guard, Wes. You needed a guard. Other than that, I love my boy Wes, and I'm
We love you worldwide. We love you worldwide.
Hey, Steven, thank you, man. We'll
right,
talk
fellas.
to you soon. Be well.
Thank you, man. All right.
Thank you.
All right, see you, man.
Perk caused quite a stir with this tweet. I don't need to be convinced that Bron is the GOAT. It's stamped. But if this Nets team can make it out the East and Bron takes care of them, he's the undisputed GOAT. Beating 2 super teams today is greater than 6-0 in the 90s. Carry on. Stephen A?
Oh,
Is
no.
Perk right about LeBron's GOAT status?
No, I don't agree with Perk, but Max is the one that was talking smack to Perk. So I'm going to let Max get in here first. I'll close. Go ahead, Max.
Go for
you
it.
and Kirk, you and
First of
Kendrick
all,
go at it. No, go,
it's
I'll go
absurd. Every word of it is absurd. Starting with LeBron's the GOAT, it's stamped. No, actually, Jordan's the GOAT, it's stamped. There's nothing LeBron's going to do now that's going to convince anyone who knows that at his best he's better than Jordan, because he's not. No, the numbers say it and the championships say it. That's number one. Number two, you act like Perkins has an old soul. Perk, you got an old soul, but you're actually a youngin'. You're over 10 years younger than me, and more than that, younger than Stephen A. You didn't really live through the Jordan era, so you're disrespecting the teams he beat. Michael Jordan, just in the second three-peat, had a year where when he comes back, had a full season back, he beat a 60-win Shaq and Penny team. That was a super team that had just been to the finals. Shaq, Penny, and an excellent supporting cast. He swept them. He then beat a 64-win Seattle team with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp. They were crew deep. They won 64 games. Well, if he beats another super team, the Nets have a big three. As I said, there's pressure on them to get to the finals. A lot of people aren't convinced they'll get to the finals. Most people aren't taking them to beat the Lakers. They're not the favorites against the Lakers because you brought it up yourself. A lot of people brought it up. There's only one ball. How are Harden and Kyrie going to play together? KD's coming back off the injury. Is his health going to hold up? Who's going to play defense because they weren't playing it well before Harden got there? Beating that team, you think, puts LeBron James over
Max,
a Michael Jordan who never even got taken seven games in a finals at 6-0?
Max, you know good and damn well we only got 2 minutes left. Why are you going to chew up all the time? Go ahead, Kendrick.
Yeah, Max. And Max, I thought you was going to bring up Jeff Hornacek again because I was going to walk off the set. But listen, let me tell you something, Max. If you're about to downgrade that 73-19 when Bron came back 3-1, then you're tripping right now. And if you're about to sit up here and tell me that with a Kyrie Irving, who was one of the most skilled players to ever touch the damn basketball, and Kevin Durant, arguably the best scorer to ever touch the damn basketball, James Harden, arguably the most prolific scorer to touch the damn basketball, all on one team, and you're telling me that that's not a super team and it's not championship or bust, you're out your damn mind. It is championship or bust. And if they happen to meet up with the Lakers in the finals and the Lakers beat them, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear that GOAT talk no more from you or Stephen A.
Well,
Max,
first of all,
the stuff you just said about, go ahead, Stephen A.
Kendrick, I got to go, but let me say this to you. First of all, Kendrick, I disagree with you. Secondly, on this show, I will say what I want to say. Thirdly, and more importantly, here's the deal, Kendrick Perkins. Here's the deal. You can say that all you want to, but you dilute your own argument because you don't even have Brooklyn coming out of the East. You got Philly. So evidently, they ain't that damn super in Brooklyn. All I'm trying to say is this. We got the Lakers got a chip. Lakers got a chip. But in the end, he's still LBJ. I love him, number 2 all time. He ain't over Jordan.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.